Chapter 4: How the Rhinoceros Got His Skin. A long time ago, on an empty island near the Red Sea, there lived a man called the Parsee. He wore a shiny hat that reflected the sun and had a knife and a special cooking stove. No one was allowed to touch his stove. One day he mixed flour, water, currants, plums, and sugar to make a big cake. It was 2 feet wide and 3 feet thick. He baked it on his stove until it was golden brown and smelled delicious. Just as he was about to eat the cake, a rhinoceros came out of the forest. Back then, the rhinoceros's skin was smooth and tight, with no wrinkles at all. He had a horn on his nose, 2 small eyes, and no manners. The rhinoceros said, "How?" and scared the Parsee, who quickly climbed up a palm tree. The rhinoceros knocked over the stove, rolled the cake in the sand, and ate it in one bite. Then he walked back to the forest, wagging his tail. The Parsee climbed down from the tree, set up his stove again, and angrily recited, "Those who take cakes that the Parsee man bakes make dreadful mistakes." A few weeks later, it got very hot by the Red Sea. The rhinoceros came back to the beach to cool off. Back then, his skin could be taken off like a coat. It had buttons underneath. He left his skin on the sand and went into the water. The Parsee saw the rhinoceros's skin and had an idea. He filled his hat with old cake crumbs and burned currants. Then he shook the crumbs into the rhinoceros's skin. Afterward, he climbed back up his palm tree and waited. When the rhinoceros came out of the water, he put on his skin and buttoned it up. But the crumbs inside started to itch and tickle him terribly. He scratched, but it didn't help. He rolled on the sand, but the crumbs only tickled more. He rubbed against a palm tree, but that just made his skin wrinkle and fold. Now the rhinoceros's skin was loose, wrinkly, and uncomfortable. His bad temper got even worse because he couldn't get the crumbs out. From that day on, all rhinoceroses have wrinkled skin and bad tempers because of the Parsee's cake crumbs. As for the Parsee, he climbed down from the palm tree, packed his stove, and walked away, smiling under his shiny hat.